Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. I'm Representative Erin Burns, and I am the chair of the House Ethics and Oversight Committee. Today, I'm honored to join my fellow legislators and bill sponsors, Representatives Betsy Kofia, Jason Morgan, Julie Brixey, Jimmy Wilson, Kara Hope, and Jen Hill, in introducing the BRITE Act legislative package. The BRITE acronym stands for Bringing Reforms for Integrity, Transparency, and Ethics. In honor of Sunshine Week, my colleagues and I are introducing this package to improve standards for government ethics, to curtail the influence of lobbying and financial interests, and to increase enforcement of election and campaign finance law violations. We have all seen multiple examples of bad actors in and around the legislature over the years, but it's a new day in Lansing. We are ready to take bold steps to address the wrongs of the past and to establish a clear path forward that's paved with greater transparency and accountability. I'd like to give a brief synopsis of the package before turning it over to my fellow legislators who will speak further as to why this bill package is so critical. This package includes 5 main parts. The first relates to the disclosure and registration of dark money affiliations. Serious charges regarding the misuse of C4 funds were levied by the Attorney General's office in 2023, and our legislation is a first step in addressing this critical issue. The second part of the package aims to close the revolving door to lobbying by enacting a 1-year ban on state elected officials serving as lobbyists following their term, to minimize the possibility of policy decisions being influenced by future job prospects. Third, we are looking to tighten gift rules for legislators by mirroring the rules that executive branch officials are already subject to. Our legislation also extends lobbyist gift rules to staff. Fourth is a requirement for the disclosure of tickets for travel and events provided to state officials. And lastly, we are aiming to provide real-time campaign finance enforcement by strengthening the Bureau of Elections' ability to address campaign finance violations in real time, in the moment, as they're happening. This is just a snapshot of the BRITE Act bill package. Now I'd like to invite my colleagues to share some of the finer details, and I will pass it over to Representative Julie Brixey.
Thank you, Rep. Burns, and thank you all for being here today. I want to echo the excitement of introducing a bill package that celebrates Sunshine Week and, more importantly, celebrates and helps to ensure a transparent, accountable democracy. As Representative Burns noted, a crucial element of this legislation is requiring elected officials and candidates to disclose their affiliations with dark money accounts. Currently in our state, 527 and 501c4 groups can engage in substantial lobbying and advocacy activities with varying degrees of anonymity. Nearly every day, we hear of another instance of the inappropriate use of 501c4 accounts by electeds or their staff, but it's almost impossible to hold bad actors accountable when our state law doesn't even give the AG or the Secretary of State a starting point to identify them. Our bills will hold elected officials and candidates to a higher standard for ethics and transparency by making them register their connections to dark money with the Secretary of State's office. This is an important first step in shining a bright light on fundraising, restoring trust in our democracy, and putting the public back in the forefront of government policy. This is one of the many reasons I'm thrilled to co-sponsor this legislation. Next, I'd like to hand the podium over to my colleague, Representative Kofia.
Thank you, Representative Brixey. Thank you to all of the bill sponsors and co-sponsors and everyone for being here today. I'm very proud to stand here with my colleagues today, again on Sunshine Week. I love that the sun is in fact shining. We all like that in northern Michigan in the winter. I'm proud to be here, and I can tell you that the matter of ethics, transparency, and reform are in fact a regular topic of conversation in my district in northern Michigan. Coffee hours, knocking on doors, and across the political spectrum. These are situations, these are conversations that come up that are very important to my constituents. They ask about it a lot. And as I said, across the political spectrum, voters care about this, and they want and they deserve to be confident that our decisions as their representatives in Lansing are truly in the public interest, whether we are allocating an $83 billion budget of their tax money or passing laws that impact 10 million Michiganders. Increasing the public's confidence in our work is why we have worked for months on these bills and why we are here today. My constituents in the 103, and I know my colleagues' constituents across the state, are very concerned about the fact that while we're so proud of so many things about our beautiful and amazing state, Michigan has consistently ranked either last or close to last of all 50 states for too many years, most of my adult life, frankly, when it comes to national rankings for ethics, transparency, and accountability. And our constituents are demanding change. As Rep. Burns said, it is a new day. There's been shift in leadership, and we have a real opportunity to lean into that change. So my bill, briefly in the package, picks up on important work that we began last year with the Proposal 1 implementation, pushing for more transparency. Currently, lobbyist-funded tickets, travel for state officials must be disclosed, but many non-lobbying groups and individuals currently also fund those travel, tickets, concerts, sporting events. And under current state law, those non-lobbyists are not required to disclose. So the public is left in the dark about who is paying for those tickets, those trips, those concerts, etc. And we believe the public has the right to know that, as does the media. So my bill closes that loophole for non-lobbyist entities. It requires that travel and event tickets by non-lobbyist individuals and entities who are not direct family members must be reported. This will ensure that the public and media has full awareness of who's paying for the tickets and travel. I'm very grateful to my colleagues, to our partners in the work that has been put into this, and for the other 6 bills in the BRITE Act bill package. By the way, I came up with that acronym on my 3-hour drive down to one, and I'm very proud of it, very attached. It was a bright, sunny day when I came up with it. I look forward truly and sincerely to continuing to shine a light in Lansing for the benefit of our constituents, for stronger ethics, transparency, and accountability, because that is exactly what our constituents deserve. And next, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Representative Morgan, to talk about his bill in the package.
Thank you, Representative Kofia, and everyone for being here with us today, and to our colleagues that are joining us standing up here. As you've heard from my colleagues, this package addresses a variety of issues, including requiring public officials to disclose a list of all tickets received for concerts, sporting events, and other entertainment that is gifted. This means requiring state officials to disclose travel that is paid for by non-lobbyists, too. This will help put an end to illicit, unreported lobbying from cloak and dagger consultants and relations firms. In addition, another problem that we are addressing is that candidates can unethically win elections and then deal with the legal consequences later when the Bureau of Elections is slow to respond to complaints. This bill package solves this problem by granting the Bureau of Elections additional tools to petition the Ingham County Circuit Court for an injunction to stop real-time campaign finance violations or abuse. And so as we celebrate Sunshine Week, now is the time to think about a brighter future for Michigan. A brighter future where the people hold the most power in our government, not dark money special interest groups. A brighter future where lawmakers call their constituents to ask how they should vote on legislation instead of wealthy and well-connected individuals. This is a future where people can trust that their state government is making the right decisions for the right reasons. This brighter future is not just an aspiration. It starts here today. With a record number of new lawmakers and a Democratic trifecta for the first time in 40 years, we have an opportunity to redefine the outdated political culture of Lansing. We have the opportunity to do better. We have this opportunity to stand up for the people and make sure that they are in the seat of power here in our political system. Now, there is no single law or single person that will ever be perfect or solve every challenge. But we are putting forward what we believe is possible today while continuing to work toward what can be possible tomorrow. Taking on dark money is a big deal and requires people to put pressure on us as lawmakers to hold ourselves accountable. And we need you, the people and the press, to demand that we pass this legislation, to demand that we do better for the people of our state. And while some may dismiss ethics reform as idealistic, we firmly believe that it is achievable. Frankly, some may call us troublemakers for even attempting this effort. But if bringing ethics back to politics makes us troublemakers, then consider us proud troublemakers leading the charge for a better Michigan. If believing in government that works for the people makes us troublemakers, then we should all be making good trouble, as the late John Lewis would say. Again, thank you all for joining us today to celebrate Sunshine Week and the introduction of this important legislation. And I'd like to pass it over to Quentin Turner, Executive Director at Common Cause, and then we will have a few minutes for questions at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rep. Morgan. And I want to thank all the representatives for inviting me here to make good trouble with them. My name is Quentin Turner. I'm the Executive Director for Common Cause Michigan. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. And I'm here representing our more than 40,000 members and advocates across the state of Michigan who are committed to creating open, honest, and accountable government that serves the public interest. It's great during Sunshine Week to be talking about bills that shine the light of transparency and disclosure on our elections and elected officials. Transparency is the backbone of American democracy. It allows voters to make informed decisions about who they are giving the right to represent them and the privilege to have power. Historically, Michiganders have been kept in the dark regarding the financial interests of our state officials. For years, Michigan was just one of 2 states that had no financial disclosure laws for elected officials or public officials. That all changed in 2022 when Michiganders overwhelmingly voted to pass Proposal 1, requiring state legislative and executive officials to file annual disclosure reports. Last year, Proposal 1 was written into law, and that was the first step towards Michigan embracing greater transparency within our government. The BRITE Act will be a continued step in that direction. The bills in the BRITE Act build upon the values of Proposal 1. They will improve standards in government ethics, accountability, and transparency by doing things such as closing the revolving door between legislator and lobbyist and tightening gift rules for elected officials and staff. If we look to our neighboring Midwest states, we can see many public officials embroiled in indictments and high-profile corruption scandals. There's a chance here to make Michigan a leader in government ethics. The BRITE Act and legislation like it can take us from the exception to the rule to the exception that defines the rule. Speaking as a Michigan voter, that would make me even prouder to call the state home. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll open it up for questions.
Danny with MERS. One of the things that I noted, when you speak about, updating some of these lobbyable executive branch officials, could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So with regard to kind of lobbyable elected officials, what we've done is kind of gone through the list, specifically with the executive branch, because we know that over time, some of those titles, those roles have changed. So we've just made sure that those positions mirror what is currently present, on the roster of folks. Right. Right, like Miley, new department. So that changes over time. So it's really just making sure that it's up to date, it's consistent, and it's accurate. Yep, thank you.
Have you had any communication with either the House Speaker or the Governor with respect to these bills, and if you're able to share what their kind of take is on this?
Sure. Yes, we've engaged a variety of stakeholders throughout the process, including the EOG or the governor's team, as well as Speaker Tate. We're very happy that Speaker Tate is in support of us introducing these bills. So that's been a great partnership, collaboration, conversation throughout. So we're very happy about that. We've also had really positive conversations with the governor's team as well, and we'll continue to do that as we move forward from today.
Some of these things have been taken
Sure. I can start and happy to share with other folks as well. So certainly I think Proposal 1 was a first step towards greater transparency in Michigan. Based on what was passed last year, we're excited to introduce this package as kind of a further step in that process. And I will say, as other speakers mentioned today, this is a process. We're looking at going from the bottom of the barrel nationwide to kind of clawing our way up to the top, ideally, right? That's what we're looking to do. So there will be multiple steps as we kind of chart a new course in Lansing and in Michigan. So we're looking forward to doing that. Some of these pieces, of course, were discussed last year. They didn't make it across the finish line then, but we're very excited to be introducing them now and looking forward to just engaging with our colleagues in conversation on these bills as we move forward. So thank you. Anything else? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yep. I think we should-
Sure, and I can also speak to that. I definitely believe that Proposal 1 was an important first step, and I can attest that, again, in my district in northern Michigan, I am getting a lot of direct feedback from my constituents saying, we want you to take it further, there's more to be done, which frankly is part of why I took on the bill in the package that addresses closing the loophole on who pays for travel if they are non-lobbyists. That was a really important thing, and I know we all are hearing from our constituents, great, good first step, you've got a lot more work to do, which is why we're here and why we've worked for the last 9 months on these bills.
Question. Where'd you look? In the middle here? Yeah. Sorry.
Sheldon Cross with 9 and 10 News. Just wondering the group's thoughts on the FOIA legislation that was voted out of the Senate Oversight Committee this morning, whether you guys are supportive of that and kind of how these two packages kind of go together to increase transparency.
Sure. Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I can. I don't want to speak for everybody up here, but I think a general consensus from the folks here, you're looking at folks who very strongly value transparent and accountable good government. I see the FOIA bills as another really important piece of ensuring that we are more transparent as state government. So very strongly support that bill package and the work that's been done on those bills for many, many years to get them to where they are today. So I think that is excellent news and would love to support those bills when they get over here to the House.
I want to add on to that really quickly. Hi, it's me. I want to say another thing. It is important to note that many of us standing up here and many people, especially the new class coming into the chamber, have served in local government. I was a county commissioner for 2 terms, former Washtenaw County chair, right? Many of us come from local government and we had FOIA applied to us and Open Meetings Act, and we understand that that is an important piece of the process. So I think that's a real strength of the current members of the House, and I'm eager to see the FOIA legislation come over.
Claire Anderson, Detroit Free Press. We've seen an emphasis on bipartisan support for the FOIA expansion legislation in the Senate. Was there a similar effort here to try to get Republican buy-in for the legislation you're announcing today?
I can speak to that a little bit. Yes, I can say we've engaged Republican members of the House in conversation throughout the process. I chair the House Ethics and Oversight Committee. We have 6 Dem members, myself included, 3 Republican members. Every member of the committee has been briefed on the package. And we, are certainly open to and would encourage our Republican friends to co-sponsor these bills. And we look forward to just continuing conversation with them and, gaining their support, hopefully when the bills come to the floor for a vote in the future at some point.
And
Yeah.
well, and we are continuing to gather co-sponsors for those bills today, and I would expect that we'll have some of our Republican colleagues joining us in that effort.
Typically 527s and 501c4s are used by those in leadership positions historically. I guess if you have the leadership, whether it be a Democratic caucus or Republican caucus, if they want to support something like this when it's their nonprofits that are going to be subject to it.
So the 501c4 and 527 bills, what these bills are doing is requiring them to be registered with the Secretary of State as affiliated. Now, as we've been talking about these bills, one of the interesting conversations I think that I've had with folks is about the dark money accounts. Some people have said, well, what makes you think that people will follow the rules because, of registering them because you don't, they're dark money, right? And my response to that was that most of the organizations that are participating in these fundraising efforts for the 527 and 501c4 accounts are following every rule that exists when they're donating the money. And they're not going to donate money to someone who isn't properly registered if they're in a leadership position. So I fully expect that the leadership on both sides of the aisle will be complying, and that the folks who donate to the 527 and 501c4 accounts will also comply. And this is an important first step.
Well, I mean, I get it. Yeah, if it passes, it's in compliance. But leadership, as the 527 and 501c4s, make the decision about whether it gets up for a vote or whether.
I see. I misunderstood your question. We had great meetings with the speaker, and the speaker has been supportive of what we have in the 501c4 bills. So.
Thank you.